The New York Mets have been looking for another guy in that Mets lineup to provide some of the power spark as well as drive in the runs and be able to be that constant in the lineup consistently when it comes to driving in runs, providing the power, and just getting the normal hits. Now you always think of guys like Jeff McNeil and of course Pete Alonso to be two of the guys right at the forefront. But there's one guy also in that lineup who's actually been having a resurgence season, has been playing a lot better so far this year after having a very down 2021. Yes, I'm talking about the $300 million man himself, number 12, the shortstop for the New York Mets, Fransisco Lindor. What's going on, everybody? This is NYG Jeffy T3285, and I'm here to give you a quick little breakdown on Fransisco Lindor and how his 2022 season and the rest of it, how it goes, will provide some type of impact on how the Mets are going to do for the rest of the season, as his importance to this roster is so big. Because if he can consistently play as good as he's played so far this year, it'll only help the Mets as they head towards the latter end of the 2022 MLB season and to a potential playoff run. Now in 2021, before he was traded from the 2021, in the middle of the offseason, Fransisco Lindor was traded from the, at that time, Cleveland Indians over to the New York Mets for guys like Ahmed Rosario and Andres Gimenez. Fransisco Lindor later on inked a huge 10-year, $341 million extension to be with the New York Mets long term. And now the 2021 season didn't go accordingly to plan for Fransisco Lindor, as he only played in 125 games, he had 104 hits, he had about 16 doubles, he had 3 triples, he scored 73 runs, he had 20 home runs and 63 RBIs, while he stole about 10 bases and he got caught stealing 4 times. He had 58 walks with 96 strikeouts. He had a very, very low batting percentage with .230. He had an on-base percentage of .322, a slugging percentage of .412, and an OPS of .734. Those are some of the lowest. That's the lowest numbers he's had in his entire career, and it's his first season with the New York Mets. It did not go accordingly to plan. Now, some of the numbers you look on here, they might not be as terrible if you first see it at first glance, but I mean, for a guy of Fransisco Lindor's ability, and he only had 20 home runs, he had 63 RBIs in over 120 games played. That's not exactly the type of numbers you want to get from a guy that you signed to a 10-year, $341 million deal. So Fransisco Lindor, plus amid with the controversy that went on with him and Javy Baez with the infamous thumbs down thing that happened, and that did not rub the New York Mets fans very well when him and at the time, Javy Baez did the thumbs down, and it pretty much gave like a sign that the New York Mets fan base was too negative all the time. So it was not a very good first year for Fransisco Lindor, and he would need to come out in 2022 with a lot better stats, better play, and have a better attitude going into that season. Well, so far in the 2022 season, and we're just about to be approaching the All-Star break, Fransisco Lindor has played in 73 games. He's had 45 runs scored, so that's about a little less than half of the runs scored he got totally in 2021. He has 12 home runs, that's more than half than he had all of 2021. He has 56 RBIs. He's already almost equaled the amount of RBIs he had in 2022 than he had in 2021 total, and we're not even halfway through the season. He had 11 doubles. He has 2 triples. 8 stolen bases, 2 caught stealing, with 28 walks and 63 strikeouts. He has a batting average of .246, so it's still not very ideal. Batting average is still very low, better than what it was in 2021. He has a .322 on-base percentage, so it's equal to what he had in 2021. He has a slugging percentage of .426, so it's still not great, but I mean, it's better than what it was in 2021. And he has a .748 OPS. So overall, the numbers for 2022 in some cases are a lot better. The RBIs and the home runs are definitely an improvement, as if he keeps on this pace, he'd be hitting for about 24 home runs, and he would hit about close to about 80 something RBIs, so about like 82, 83 RBIs total, which is an improvement from what he did in 2021 after he had an abysmal season. But Fransisco Lindor's importance to this team is key. Because right now you have Jeff McNeil that's nursing a hamstring injury. You don't know when he's going to return to the lineup. Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, they've had pretty solid seasons so far beginning as well. But they're mainly top of the rotation guys. Pete Alonso's been having an MVP type season, as I made in previous my videos. He's having an MVP season right now. You can't discount what this guy's been doing for the New York Mets. He's been doing everything for this team offensively. But they need Fransisco Lindor to put up better numbers, to play almost every single game this year, and he needs to play up to that 10-year, $341 million contract that he signed in 2021, because you don't sign a guy to that type of contract if you don't think that he's going to be one of your best players going into the season. I think he definitely has played better, especially on the defensive side of the baseball. He's definitely played a lot better. You just hope that those power numbers are going to continue to rise up as he goes into the second half of the season. You hope he's going to be able to get more walks, limit the strikeouts. He's going to be able to continue to get hits. Maybe not get as many stolen bases as he did in his Cleveland days, but he's still going to be able to provide that other guy in that lineup to provide power, hits, everything. Because Jeff McNeil and especially Pete Alonso are going to need help when it comes to just getting on base, getting hits opposite field, wherever it is. And that's what you paid Fransisco Lindor to do, is to be a guy to go out there and provide the type of all-around baseball game. The Mets paid him to be a five-tool player on this team. And Fransisco Lindor has got to go out there and play like a five-tool player going forward for this New York Mets team and this New York Mets franchise. Because if he can do that, it's only going to help the New York Mets as you go into the second half of the Major League Baseball season and as you go into, hopefully, a long playoff run when the Mets get there in September and beyond. But that's just my little video breakdown of Fransisco Lindor, his importance to this baseball team, and what to expect for him going into the second half of this season. As right now, his numbers are better than what he did in 2021, but you still need a little bit more from this guy that you paid a large number for, and he's a guy that's going to be here for probably close to a decade. That's if you don't get out of his contract earlier on. But this is a guy you expect to be here long term. And you need him to step up and be one of your foundational pieces and play like the 10-year, $341 million contract that you gave him. Now, of course, you're not always going to get those numbers immediately. You're going to have you're going to have realistic expectations for a guy that's probably not going to be the same type of player he was at the beginning of his career, but you're still expecting him to be able to provide some of those numbers in the power department, in the hitting department, and especially on the defensive side to help out your pitchers. So if you like the video, please hit the like button below. Turn the bell on for notifications for the next short or videos that come out. Leave your comment below on what your expectations are for Fransisco Lindor for the rest of the season, and if you think he's going to be able to live up to that 10-year, $341 million contract that he signed in 2021. And subscribe if you haven't already to NYG Jeffy T 3285 for more breaking news, updates, and any type of chatter surrounding the New York Mets, the New York Giants, the WWE Wrestling, and the Brooklyn Nets. I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your Monday morning, afternoon, and evening, and I hope everybody had a great weekend this past weekend. Take it easy, enjoy the rest of your Monday, and let's go New York Mets.